It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
What's going on, guys? Rounded TikTok here, and today we're going to be talking all about the end game. This is your beginner's guide, I guess that works, to the end game, because there's a lot of things here that the game tells you about but doesn't really fully explain. Luckily enough, I was able to get an early access copy from Square Enix as an ambassador, so I've been able to get here. Forewarning, you don't have to listen to me, but I highly recommend you do not rush through the story. Some of the coolest missions in the entire game are side quests, specifically the hunt and anything to do with science. The game gets quite dark. Just don't rush through it. The end game is always going to be there. But for those who did rush through it or are in end game and are having a difficult time, then this video is for you. Once again, I'm not going anywhere. So if you like this kind of content, full weapon guides, gear, and gameplay, make sure to subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And lastly, we are live over at twitch.tv/roundedtiktak 4 days a week. Come stop by and see how a dev main gets his ass kicked. Yo, ever since I got that helmet and the migraine, I'm feeling frisky, guys. We might actually get to World Tier 8. It might happen. We might be able to do it. If I don't die right here. All right, we didn't die. Whoa, whoa. Let's get into the video. This is your beginner's guide to the end game. Yeah, we're going with that title. Once you are done on Enoch, or at least the main campaign, you end up here in this little camp in the desert. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here, but first, let's talk about difficulty levels. Now, when we were told about the game, we knew there were challenge tiers in the end game and world tiers as well. Now, I thought that they did reflect upon each other, and they apparently do not do so. World Tier 15 is strictly for the campaign. I can go right here. We go to China and we prepare the truck, and we can go back to any story point in the game. And as you can see, I rushed through a little bit. Do not do that. I really don't recommend it, because the end is difficult if you don't have gear, and you get the best gear from doing the side quests. However, you can go here, and if you're having a hard time in expeditions, go up to World Tier 10, World Tier 11 in the main storyline, do some of those side quests, or reset your quest as we talked about in the demo, or reset your story point as we talked about in the demo, and you're able to farm these side missions for gear that is on your level in expeditions, but the enemies or just the archetype of the mission might be easier. I haven't done this yet, but I'm getting really close, because man, expeditions are tough. Within that, the expeditions also have their own separate challenge tiers. You can see here, I have beaten all the way up to challenge tier 5, and this is where I'm currently stuck on, slowly building up my build and, you know, trying to inch my way into challenging missions, although it's already ridiculous, like I said, especially on a Devastator. So that's the challenge tiers versus the world tiers. If you are having an issue in expeditions, you can always go back, readjust your world tier in the main campaign, play some of that stuff, and get some gear that way. The next thing I want to talk about is loot. Now, I have not gotten a legendary piece of armor to drop yet, and I really hope they are available to drop, but if they aren't, we have Tiago. Tiago sells certain gear. Every time you complete an expedition, you get one of these down here. I'm not sure what they're called. Drop pod resources. That's what they're called. All I needed to do is click, and he sells some of the best gear in the game. And as you can see here, a few legendaries. For my Devastator, we have the Bulwark, the Wicker, and the Juggler. All of these weapons can be picked up from him for 3,616 drop pod resources. God damn, that is a lot. But you can slowly flesh out your build. I have to assume that legendary armor does drop, but the chance has to be low, or maybe you need to be in a certain world tier for it to drop, but we're just not there yet. Next, he also sells for much, much cheaper more items that you can flesh out your build with epics. These, do not sleep on these. Going from level 36 gear to 37 gear is a huge jump in survivability, and that is going to be your biggest issue. I'm not sure if you've seen any footage of Devastators or Pyros trying to do the end game, but it's like trying to do surgery with a sledgehammer. It really is difficult. So you can do a few of the other easier ones, get your drop pod resources up a little higher, and flesh out your build with these items here. They also always check these items because they may have a mod you're looking for that hasn't dropped for you yet. The store does reset, so I suggest checking this place often. But if you do not have enough drop pod resources, we can go to Bailey over here and check out her store. Bailey has a resource offer, which means you can trade your tons of leather for scrap, iron for scrap, or your very, very, very rare titanium for scrap. Who thought they would take their level 9 Thunderbird to endgame? Raise your hand. But she also sells a bunch of armors that can help flesh out your build. I think they really want incremental and small increases, so you always feel like making progress towards the next zone. Here we can pick up something that I don't have, like mitigation from death. Me personally, I'm specifically looking for a mod that gives me golem skin when low on health, but I have not seen it yet. So I'm keeping my eyes out for that. Again, her store resets too, so make sure to check that often. Now let's talk about crafting just a little bit. Crafting in this game is something I haven't touched on yet, but I do plan on making a video, but I just want to mention a few things here. Never ever sleep on any piece of gear you get. And if you have something that you might want to level up, it's most likely worth it. For example, I have this Inquisitor's uniform at level 33. Although it will cost me about 90 titanium to get it up to par, I haven't found a better chest piece yet, and I am getting my butt kicked in expeditions. So this is something that I could do to really help me out. You'll get more titanium later, especially when you start clearing these faster and getting more epics instead of blues. So in my opinion, something like this is a small investment. Another thing I want to talk about is your swap variant. You can get an assault rifle like this. I took my iceberg mod, put winter blast on it, and it came with tier 2 vulnerability bullets. This is the best gun I've had so far. However, when I got it, it was a sharpshooter variant, a single shot gun, and it wasn't fast enough for the way I play the Devastator. I was too close. I didn't have time to make headshots every single time, so I changed it to tactical. Somewhere in the middle, I stay back a little bit, I go in a little bit, and it helps out a ton. If you get a gun that has decent mods, but you do not like how it shoots, you can swap the variant for quite cheaply. Small note, just clicking this once swaps your variant and will spend your iron, so there is no like confirm screen. So just keep that in mind. You will notice when you are first clearing the expeditions, you will be getting a lot more blue items than epics at the start. Here we have a green level 37 armor, and within the crafting system, you can improve the rarity. I have 52,000 leather, so let's see this live. I've never done this before, what this ends up being. We can improve it once, and it allows us to pick a random mod. I use golem skin in my build, and although increase the skill duration by 100% is one of the ones I use, the other two, if I had a different build, would work as well. So we're going to grab that. Then we bring it up to epic, and it gives us another set of perks that we get to choose from. And let's see here if this unlocks a perk that we do not have yet, because that would be fantastic. This does take titanium, but I'm going to do it just for you guys. We have blood potion, critical shots towards enemies in close range afflicted with bleed, increase your health. That's pretty good. We went from 1989 all the way up to 3,115, and we are sitting at a pretty 16,000 armor. So if you are really struggling and cannot do it, but have a ton of gear to break down because you keep failing, and something we are going to mention in just a minute, then you can do that as well. And lastly, the thing I want to talk about is the legendaries that we grinded in the demo. They have, at least for us, some of the best tier 3 mods in the game. I personally was having a very difficult time clearing as a devastator until I decided to try more crowd control. And that is where I took the iceberg mod and put it on here. And it hasn't been smooth sailing, but it's been a lot better. That's the next point I want to talk about. In expeditions, crowd control seems to be king. And that is why you see tricksters with their time bubbles and their slows, and technomancers with their freezing bullets all over the place on YouTube and expeditions. Crowd control is absolute king. So if there's any way for you to add any kind of crowd control to your build or to your weapons, I highly recommend to do so, especially if you're not running maybe the meta classes at the moment, which is Trickster and Technomancer. If you can fit any crowd control in your build, I highly suggest doing so. The next thing I want to talk about is the actual expedition themselves and exactly what you need to do. You can see right here, we can go to the table, and this allows us to pick a mission. This mission is the expedition. They rotate through. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15 would be the Eye of the Storm. All of these are random every time you attempt and or complete one, and the higher they get over here, the harder they become. So the easier ones are down here. I don't even have, even though it says I have access to this, I need resources, you can see at the bottom right, to actually even attempt this place. And at the moment, I know that I'm not geared to do this, so I'm not even going to try. And then, of course, we have the Eye of the Storm up here, which you need to be playing on World Tier 15 over here. So these are your challenge tiers. You can drop them down. This was something I was confused about. Hypothetically, if we were going to the Heart of the Wild, over here, you can drop it down and replay. So say you're looking for a pair of 35 gloves to flesh out your build, you can keep running this at 35. They do get you when you get into expeditions and you're on only challenge tier 2 and you run through it real quick. The second you run up to challenge tier 3, you're in for a world of hurt. The last two things I want to talk about are snipers. That's the first one, are deadly in this game mode. If you see that red beam on you, kiss your goodbye. They will absolutely one-shot you if they get a clean hit. Make sure if you have a movement skill or armor skill or something along those lines, get your butt over to those marksmen and take them down. They will kill you faster than you can kill them from range. It's just a personal experience thing, and it's a reason I realized I kept dying even though I was not near anybody. The snipers do a ton of damage. And the last thing I want to mention to you guys, if you clear a room or a specific timed area, you can 100% get loot. When you respawn, it spawns, we're going to call it a pity chest, and drop some gear for your efforts. Do not discount this chest. It can drop that one epic you're looking for. Maybe it can even drop legendaries. We don't know, but it has helped me personally finish up my build that I'm trying to do. That is expeditions in a nutshell. I don't want to make this video too long. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you're having a hard time in expeditions, because as a devastator, I know I am, and I would love to hear your stories as well. Remember, guys, 4 days a week, twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. Enjoy the game. It's out. Enjoy. I'm having a blast. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. TikTak out.